June 28th, live on Fox Sports 1 from San Antonio at the AT&T Center. Tickets go on sale Friday, April 11th. And another cool thing, Harley-Davidson motorcycles. So these guys, from now on, all the guys who win Performance of the Night bonuses will also, there will be a vote on Facebook by the fans to determine who wins a Harley-Davidson. So on top of I announced that, we're giving away $10 million this year in bonuses. You can add on a Harley-Davidson motorcycle to one of the guys that are voted on by the fans. So very cool. Thank you, Harley-Davidson. Who has the first question?
And obviously, I'm sure we'll get to the main event, guys, at some point. But can we get your initial thoughts on the main event?
It was an amazing fight. I had it 2-2 going into the fifth round, and I felt like whoever won the fifth round would win the fight.
And obviously, is there any news with what happens at 170 pounds next? I mean, we thought that this was the number one contender fight with Tyron. Obviously, Hector had a big fight as well. I mean, obviously, sometimes you put those off, but is there anything we can announce tonight?
Nope.
Fair enough. Let me ask Tyron then to make a case for himself. What did you think about the performance? Obviously, you looked very good up until the finish, but it ends in a little bit of a bizarre fashion. Does that take anything away, and do you think that there's any possibility that that'll preclude you from getting that title shot?
I think it takes nothing away. I think if you break somebody's arm in the armbar, if you choke them out, they don't tap. It wasn't like he came in with a pre-existing injury. It came from a double leg takedown. I saw that he was hurt, and I went for the finish. I think I was dominating the fight, and that's a tough guy to dominate in general. So I went out there. I asked for this fight, because I didn't think I was going to lose it. You guys fail to realize that I'm in this to be a world champion, and I went out to the top guy when everybody was so quiet, and I blew this man's phone up until he probably couldn't take it anymore because I want to be the world champion. I think that alone, that persistence, warrants me a world title shot. Me and Johnny Hendricks got some old finished business from the Big 12 days of wrestling. I would love to get my hands on them, and I think it's a crazy fight.
Thanks. And if I could just get Hector's thoughts as well. Obviously, a dominant performance, maybe not as exciting as you would have been, or did you feel comfortable with the whole fight, and did you think it was worth a title shot?
But we all know that Jay Chile made always the fight be awkward for everyone. I do believe Jay Chile is one of the top. He has a lot of wins over a lot of guys. So I fought to win the fight, and I didn't want to risk it.
And just one final one, if I could, for you, Dana. Obviously, still pretty early in the night, but do we have any update on Carlos at all? What his condition is?
I don't know yet. Yeah, no, not yet.
I just wanted to get your reaction to Doug Crosby's scorecard. Did you see it?
No.
He scored the second round 10-8 for Hendricks, and he scored the fifth round 10-10. So he had the same score as everybody else, but he had 10-8 in the second round and 10-10 in the fifth.
Yeah, they never cease to amaze me. They never cease to amaze me. There were a couple of real goofy ones tonight. And you worry about that when you go into a fight like Lawler. I mean, I'm sure there's probably people in this room and people that are fans that might have scored it differently than I did, but I had it 2-2 going into the fifth, and whoever won the fifth won. And Robbie was winning, and then he got caught and got hit with a lot of punches, and I thought that Johnny won the fifth.
Yeah, I actually had Robbie. I gave Robbie 1, 3, and 4, and 2 and 5 to Johnny. But I mean, it was a close fight. But to me, it's just
that first round is what
right.
Which way you went on the first. See, I gave Johnny the first round. But the second.
I guess does it bother you? The last Hendricks fight, you were going crazy up here, and you got so angry because of the scoring of that fight. And in a sense, this fight was the same way. I mean, how do you score those 2 rounds?
It wasn't because it came out.
Right.
It came out the right way. I didn't know that until you just told me that, but it's a problem, man. It's a problem.
And John didn't ask you. I thought Hector looked very good too. I know Tyron looked great. He landed a lot of good shots in there. You commented on Tyron. What about Hector's?
I thought he looked great,
Jake
and he said it too. It's absolutely true. Jake Shields is an awkward guy to fight. He makes you look bad. Jake Shields makes the best guys in the world look bad. He went in there. Takedowns whenever he wanted to, defended every takedown, hit him with big shots. If I had one criticism of his performance, he looked like he gassed a little bit at the end of the first round and into the second. But other than that, I mean, he looked awesome.
Question for Miles Jury. Miles, you obviously very impressive performance against a veteran like Diego Sanchez tonight. Diego talked to us this week about wanting to show a more evolved game, maybe get away from the brawling style. But it also seemed like when you were successful at fighting him from a distance, that he was trying to goad you on a little bit and maybe get you involved in that brawling style. Did you sense that, and was that anything you ever thought about engaging in?
Yeah, I mean, as soon as you hit Diego once, he just gets really mad and he's going to try and, like, take your head off. So, I mean, I knew as soon as I started hitting him a little bit, he was just going to resort back to what he likes to do, and that's get in your face and try and just, overwhelm you. So, yeah, I expected that.
Question for Hector Lombard. Hector, obviously now at 170 welterweight, you look spectacular in a short fight against Nate Marquardt, but tonight we really saw you go the distance in dominant fashion at 170. Was there anything you were able to learn from your own performance tonight at 170 in this fight that you maybe didn't have time to see taken on Nate Marquardt?
I think that when you fight a guy like Jake Shields, you can't make a mistake because he's gonna go and capitalize, and he's a very strong individual. Like, he doesn't look like, but when you get a hold of him, you can feel that it's like some human strength. So I feel that I'm dominating every single area in the floor, and took him down so many times. Stand up, but yeah, I mean, like, a lot of people laugh when they schedule to fight. They schedule me to fight him. They said, "Oh, it's gonna be easy fight for Jake Shields," but it wasn't.
And finally, question for Robbie Lawler. Robbie, I thought we saw kind of an unusual approach from Johnny Hendricks tonight. Obviously, not a lot of committed attempts to takedowns early. That wasn't something that we saw until late in the fight. And early, we saw a lot of volume punching from him, some combinations that we don't often see. Did anything about that game plan surprise you? Was that anything you'd prepared for?
No, not really. I wasn't too worried about his takedowns, and I wasn't too worried about his punching. I just was trying to time him and see what was out there and try to take advantage of it.
And finally, it was obviously a very close decision. Could have gone either way, I think, in a lot of people's opinion up until that last round. Did you personally believe the fight went in your favor, or do you have a problem with the decision?
The thing is when you leave it up to the judges, those things happen. I just didn't do enough tonight, they thought, and need to go back to work. Obviously, work on some things, work on throwing a little bit, maybe some more punches. And I thought I fought a pretty good fight, defended some takedowns, and it was a hell of a fight. And he brought it, and he was in shape, and he got the victory.
All right, first question is for Kelvin Gastelum, KG. Kelvin.
Straight in front of you.
You're undefeated. We've never seen you hurt before. And this is the first time you said you were rocked. I talked to you a little bit. What was going on in your mind when Rick did catch you?
Yeah. I knew it was the last 10 seconds. I believe I heard the 10-second mark. So, I'm pretty good at recovering. And, I just said, if you can last through these 10 seconds, then you're good to go.
And now, is there someone that you want to go into the top 10 now to fight? What's next for you, do you think?
No idea. No idea.
And this is for Robbie Lawler. Robbie, at the end of the fifth round, when Hendricks took you down, you kind of gave a look like you were bored a little bit. What were you thinking those last 20 seconds or so?
I was thinking, oh, shit, he's freaking laying on me. I mean, that's what I was thinking.
And would you do anything differently if you were to fight again?
Yeah, I would go out there and finish him this time. I mean, I should have done more in the fight and thrown more punches, thrown more kicks, and took him out, and I didn't do it tonight, and he fought a hell of a fight.
My first question is for Hector Lombard. If you could just take us through the end of the fight. How deep was that guillotine that Jake applied?
No, it wasn't. He had it outside. Both of his things were outside, so kind of like. sorry, kind of like I was fine. I wasn't tired at all.
And just a quick question for Dana. Nick Diaz, he was in the press room. He was telling members of the media he's ready to fight right now, but he hadn't talked to you yet. Are you planning to talk to Nick anytime soon? Any update regarding Nick?
It's a little backwards, isn't it?
Kind of.
That's my boy.
Well.
Robbie, a question for you. First of all, your jab was very effective in the fight. It maybe seemed like you went away from that a little bit in the 5th round. Did you feel like the jab was setting everything else up? And did you feel like maybe if you had jabbed more, the 5th would have been different?
Yeah, I mean, the jab was working, but I wanted to stop him. Maybe I should have doubled it up and came with more crosses, but I need to watch the tape. I was looking to stop him. I wanted to finish, and I just didn't get it.
And 2 other questions for you. You landed, I think it was in the 1st round, 2 really hard right hooks. It seemed like, you might have hurt him. Did you feel those? Did you feel like, you had him in trouble at that point at all?
I saw his legs buckle a little bit, but he recovered pretty fast and was throwing back. He's a dangerous opponent, and once again, maybe I should have pressed a little bit more and took the fight to him a little bit earlier.
And then I wonder, we were talking about it before you got in. One judge scored the 2nd round 10-8 in his favor, and the 3rd judge had it. Same judge had it 10-10 in the 5th round. Can you react to that? I mean, did you feel like you were in any trouble in the 2nd round? Were you close to being finished? Was there anything going on that would justify a 10-8?
Well, here's the thing: if you make it a 10-8 in the 2nd round, what did he score the 3rd?
Yeah, 10-9 though. Yeah.
If 2nd was a 10-8, the 3rd was definitely a 10-8. Right? Or by his standards, maybe a 10-7.
Yeah. Did you feel like it, can you just answer that a little bit? Did you feel anything?
I didn't feel like I lost a 10-8 round in the fight. Plain and simple. I mean, it was a tough fight, and I'm not going to frickin' good for him tonight. It's his night.
Question for Kelvin. Kelvin, can you tell us how hard it was to recover from yesterday? You were looking really bad at the weigh-in yesterday. And what do you think about your performance tonight? Did you expect such competition from Rick? And please, can you answer in both English and Spanish?
Both English and Spanish. Yeah, I mean, I was hurting pretty bad yesterday during the weight cut, but we did a pretty good job recovering and getting some fluids back in me, and I felt 100% today, and I felt good. And then the performance, I expected a tough fight from Rick. He's a tough, durable guy. I try to finish him, and he's hard to finish.
And in Spanish.
Spanish. Sí, ayer sí estaba muy deshidratado pero ahora me recuperé muy bien, me sentí muy bien y me sentí al 100% ahora y la pelea fue dura, verdad, expecté 15 minutos de una pelea dura y eso es lo que fue 15 minutos de una pelea muy dura.
If I could follow up with Robbie quickly, you touched on it a little bit and said maybe you should have pressed a little bit. In the 3rd and 4th round especially, it seemed like you had him hurt. Was that a conscious decision on your part not to chase, maybe hold a little bit back for later on or not to open yourself up, or did maybe you just not see that you had him as hurt as maybe you did?
No, I just thought maybe I could run him into something. I didn't want to just go overboard and press and walk into something. I don't know. It's easy to look back now and look at the things you should have done. But, yeah, I should have probably pressed a little bit more and looked to finish.
Thanks, Rob. If I could, for Dennis, obviously one of the best performances we've ever seen from you. Talk about your performance this evening and, kind of where you're at. That was just, you manhandled him.
We had a game plan. The only place that Jimmy was going to be able to hurt me tonight was from his back. So I felt really comfortable on top of him, kind of, with my ground and pound, and my corner was like, let him up. So I was like, all right, let's listen to, they can see what I can't, So I think I kind of broke him, come on, dude, step up, let's throw hands.
Yeah. And obviously you've got a very nice win streak. I think it's, tied for longest in the division or something like that. people are trying to make fights for you and throw names out there. I mean, what do you think makes sense? Obviously, an impressive run right here. Is there a name that stands out to you, or a position in the division? What do you think should come next for you?
There's only I only care about what one person thinks of who I should fight next, and he left the room. So whoever Dana White wants me to fight next, I'll fight whoever he says or puts in front of me.
And I have a sort of a similar question for Miles. Do you feel like you crossed sort of a hump today, and how would you assess your performance, and what do you think you deserve next?
I felt like I performed really good tonight. I did what I trained to do, and I feel like I like crossed a little hump there. Diego's a household name. Anybody that knows MMA knows Diego. So I was happy for it, and what's next is up to my management and UFC. So.
Anybody you'd like to fight in particular?
Man, I always thought it'd be cool to fight Gomi or Diego, but I just fought Diego, so that's and cross that one off. So I don't know. I mean, there's so many good guys in the lightweight division. I'd have to sit back and look at it.
And a question for OSP. I'm wondering what this week has been like for you, given the cancellation of your first fight, and then the replacement, and then finishing it the way that you did. What was it like for you?
Definitely happy because it got me 50,000. So, I really wanted to stand up this fight, but the coach wanted me to take him down because I could take advantage of him on the ground. But the minute he grabbed my head, I was like, this is a move that I learned like 5 years ago, and I kind of stuck to it, kind of finished it with that. But even throughout the week, I felt good. My weight felt good. I came in about 217, and I only had to lose 2 pounds when I woke up Friday morning. So, and I don't even think I got up to 220 today. So, but other than that, I felt real good.
Do you feel like it did, finishing the fight in the way that you did, did the same thing for your career, or moved you forward the same amount, given the way that you finished? And I know Thiago Silva's a pretty big name. Obviously, he's no longer with the promotion. But do you feel like it moved you along the same way?
Probably not as much if I would have fought Thiago, but just because of what I did, the Von Flute. A lot of people noticed it, and all the people are going to be talking about it too. So either way, it worked for me.
This is from Miles Jury. Miles, I think it was in the second round where Diego was trying to goad you into a brawl, a strike fest, and I think you gave him like a small little wag of your finger, like a Dikembe Mutombo. No. What were you thinking when he was trying to do that? And were you making sure that you didn't get yourself into a brawl?
Honestly, man, I was just thinking, keep doing what you're doing. I was bloodying him up and beating him up pretty good. But, I don't know, sometimes, when you get out there, it is tempting to get into, a little bit of a brawl. So I was just, kind of just making sure I was sticking to the game plan and just keep piecing him up.
And Hector Lombard, same guy right here. You had Jake Shields is obviously known for his world-class jiu-jitsu, but you utilized your judo. Were you surprised that you were going to be able to throw him the way you did?
Yeah, I wanted to prove that I have all the skills because I'm well known for just go and stand out with the guys. But I proved that I was better than him in wrestling, and I was not scared at all of his ground game. So.
Questions, guys? Johnny's about 2 minutes from here. I can hear him. He's outside.
All right, Tyrone Woodley, you utilize that straight right against Condit, and your striking has looked a lot better. Is that something that you saw as Condit was coming forward to counter with that straight right?
I think, if I was fighting me and I was Condit, I would think watch out for my right hand and watch out for my wrestling. So I kind of use that to make my game plan, and I used some level changes to really attack him with some hard right hands. I hit him very hard. He felt it, and I knew he wasn't going to go right away. So I was just being patient and looking for the perfect opportunity to try to take him off. I was going to do that for 3 rounds straight, and really test the chin of someone that everybody think couldn't get knocked out. So for me, it was a good performance, and I feel like it's enough to get a title shot.
And right before Johnny, last question for Robbie is, you fought so many fights. You've been in the game for a long time. Where does Johnny rank as far as opponents-wise?
I don't know. He's high up there. Obviously, he should be because he's a UFC world champion. He fought a hell of a fight tonight, and congrats to him.
Hey, Johnny over here. Johnny, yeah. Did the yesterday, it was big news that the weight cut that you had to lose a couple of pound and a half. Did that play a toll and a factor into today's fight at all?
No, Robbie is a tough fighter. You know what I mean? He's been through so much. He's amazing. He put on a great show today. Can't say anything bad about the guy. My weight cut was my fault, and my fault only. And hopefully we can make it better and get a better performance too.
John first.
Johnny, obviously, congratulations. It was a fantastic fight. A lot of momentum shifts. Obviously, you looked good very early on. Things weren't going your way in rounds 3 and 4, and then you dug deep in the 5th. Walk us through your mindset as this fight is unfolding. You look very sharp early. Things aren't going your way, and you come back. What's going through your head round by round?
Round 1, I was like, awesome, doing my game plan, cool. Round 2, again, sort of doing what I need to do to get the job done. Round 3, Robbie hit me, and at that moment, I was just like, I was like, shit, I gotta fire back. If I don't, he's gonna kill me. He's a heavy-handed dude. You know what I mean? Obviously, nobody's made me look like this. I was sitting there. I was like, I gotta fight through this. I gotta fight through this. I gotta fight through this. That was the only thing. Then the 4th round came. I was like, all right, let's change this up. Robbie did a good job. Sort of staying in the pocket. I was a little bit hesitant to fire, and Robbie wasn't. And obviously, those two won him the round. And the 5th, pretty much saw my wife in the corner, and that's whenever I was like, I gotta win. I gotta win this round. The 5th round is the decider, and I was able to do it. Thank God.
Obviously, your striking was great in the 5th. The wrestling at the very end sealed it. What was the conversation before the 5th round? What was your corner telling you? What advice did they have for you? Did they let you know that they thought it was on the line in the 5th also?
Yeah. I looked at him. I said, it's 2-2. I got to win this round. I'm not dumb. You know what I mean? I'm not going to be one of those naive fighters that goes, it's 4-0. You know what I mean? I'm true to myself. And I knew I had to go out there and win that 5th round. My coaches, they told me what I needed to hear at that moment. And took it to heart. And, man, I was just like, leave everything out there, 5 minutes can change the world.
And lastly, after your last fight, you said, hey, I could have gone out and fight the next day if I needed to. That doesn't look like the case today. I'm sure you like some time off. But, sitting here right now, what do you think the future does hold for you? Is it extended time off? Is it back? And is there any names that make sense as the number 1 contenders? We're all trying to figure out who the number 1 contender is.
Yeah, I'm not going to call anybody else out. I'm not that type of person. I always called the champ out, you know what I mean, because I wanted to be him. Now that I'm here, I keep my mouth shut and, and go on my business.
Johnny, back here in the back, just with how that decision went down with George St. Pierre, to hear your name called in your hometown, the belt you've been chasing for a long time sitting right in front of you, just elaborate a little bit on what this moment's like for you.
I damn near died again. I was sitting there, I was like, man, not another GSP. I fought hard. So did Robbie. Take nothing away from him. He fought hard too. And we were out there, and I was looking. I was like, man, just please call my name. Please call my name. They did. And that's sort of, it hadn't really sank in yet. If that makes sense. I know this thing's sitting in front of me, but, that's the way it's always been for me. It'll take me a couple weeks before I look back and say, oh, my God, I'm the UFC champ. And I'll take it to heart and hopefully continue.
Johnny, I just wanted to ask you if I could, you referenced the GSP fight, but in that last fight, the 5th round, you hurt your knee and you had some things, and you weren't able to push the pace in that round. Did you think of that as you went out for the 5th this time, saying, I'm not going to make that same mistake?
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I was thinking. Realistically, I thought we were both going to knock each other out in the 1st or 2nd round. I didn't think we were going to go to 5. Definitely as hard as you hit me in 3rd and 4th round, most anybody else would have probably been out. For some reason, I have a thick skull. And, he hit me with some hard shots, and I knew that I had to come back the 5th round. I knew that that was my round that I lost last time, and if I would have went out there and fought like I did today, maybe the belt would have been mine before this. You know, it's a crappy situation to be in, you know, whenever you go 25 minutes, but I was in it once, and I knew I had to pull it out the 5th round.
Do you feel in any way, you know, George is talking about, you know, or Dana's talking about George may come back. Do you feel like you need to beat George to vindicate yourself as champion?
No, but I'd like to. You know, I'd like to fight George again. I think it'd be fun. You know, we had a good match. I think I'm better. You know, there's better situations. I'm going to get stronger. You know, it's my 2nd fight for 5 rounds. I'm only learning, you know, 6.5 years. Well, look at all the guys I'm fighting. They all have 8, 9, 12 years, you know, so I have a lot to learn still.
And my last question references that, you know, your only loss or your first loss was to Rick Story, and you look back on that, and you know you've come a long way really since that time. You know, do you remember your feeling after that fight, and did you make any kind of vow to yourself like, hey, I got to assess what's going on and turn things around?
Yeah, I did. First off, you know, we went in there. I executed my game plan perfectly. It was a crappy one, but I did it. You know, and Rick Story, he jumped all over me. You know what I mean? He's a tough fighter. Take nothing away from Rick Story. But whenever I walked away from that fight, I told myself, like, what's the best way to explain this? I won't lose because of game planning. I won't lose because of something we did, you know. And it's been that way ever since. Now we have 5 or 6 game plans. We have this, we have that. We do certain things to help me get better, you know, and we sort of got stagnant on that. You know, we were happy with where we were at. And I learned never be happy.
Can I say something?
Go ahead, Hector.
I would like to get that piece. I mean, I beat the guy that he was calling himself that he had the right to fight for the belt because he had like four wins. So I believe that now that Robbie is out of the picture, I believe that, you know, I can be a tough challenge for him.
I was Rory in the picture.
There's a couple of guys flying back to Vegas that'll figure this out on Monday. Dave Meltzer?
For Johnny, when you came into this fight, how did you feel physically as compared to coming in, like coming into the GSP fight? Did you feel stronger, the same, mentally better or worse?
Yeah, I felt strong. You know, I always feel strong. You know, just poor weight planning, you know, on my part or my scale. I thought we were on weight, you know, and that took us another hour. And, you know, realistically, find a place to be able to run for 20 minutes. That's all I had to do. You know what I mean? It sucks that it happened to me. I promise it won't happen again. That's so embarrassing for me. I've never missed weight. I don't plan on doing it again. But, you know, realistically, they're totally different fighters. Robbie's, you know, GSP, you sort of know what you're getting. Robbie, he has power in both hands, obviously. You know, and it's a little bit more difficult to prepare somebody like that. And whenever you are, you just try to, hopefully you've done the best you could and get your hand raised.
From a durability standpoint, were you surprised he was able to hold up to your shots the way he did for 5 straight rounds?
Yes, and no. A couple of people have. You know what I mean? I'm finding out that I need to be a little bit better with my accuracy. You know, I have the power, I know that, but I just need to be a little bit more pinpoint where I'm throwing my punches, and hopefully everything comes back around.
And how does this compare with winning the NCAAs?
This and NCAAs, this is right there with it. You know what I mean? I trained for 20 years to win an NCAA. You know what I mean, or 15, 16 years to win an NCAA tournament. I've been training for 6.5 years, but it feels like a lifetime. You know what I mean? So I compare this with NCAA any day of the week.
And do you think that experience in winning the NCAAs has helped you, like with big crowds and in big fight atmosphere like this?
Well, I think what it did is, if you go back, you know, NCAAs is in Oklahoma City next week. I plan on going, and my junior year, I beat a guy there. I had to come back from behind, and win that. I think it was my sophomore year. It might have been my sophomore year or junior year. I had to come back and win. And that's what I was sort of thinking of. I mean, I got to dig deep. How do I win this fight? You know, Robbie's doing a great job stopping everything I got. How do I change it up? How do I make it a little bit different? And that's sort of what my whole mindset was. You know, my coaches were yelling certain things, but I didn't feel like they were there. And so I was just trying to go off of my feel.
Johnny, what did you think of the good and bad points of fighting in your hometown leading up to this week, and what did you think of the crowd? Did it make an impact?
I loved it. I loved fighting here. Are you kidding me? Dallas is my adopted hometown. It's 3.5 hours from where I grew up. The crowd was awesome. The fans were awesome. And having the fight here, realistically, I sort of shut myself off to everybody to keep the distractions low. I think that was the best thing to do. I've competed at hometown for years and years. And, with that being said, I just sort of did the same thing I used to do in wrestling. Sort of just say, all right, it's time to compete. Now, you know what I mean? Sort of don't shut everybody out, but make sure that you're focused on the task at hand. Oh, yeah, I heard the chants. They were rooting for Robbie. They were rooting for me. They were rooting for Robbie. They were rooting for me. They were going back and forth. But you know what? Was that not an exciting fight? You know what I mean? Was that not a great end to this amazing show? Look at all these fighters. I'm just happy that I was the main event on some of these guys that fought tonight. They did awesome. I'm just privileged that the UFC gave me a chance to do it in my hometown. That's awesome.
Robbie, I was kind of surprised that you were able to stuff Johnny's takedowns. Was that something that you worked exclusively in your camp about?
No, I mean, obviously he's a hell of a wrestler, but I wrestled growing up too, not on his level, but I wrestled with a lot of high-level guys and always pushed myself, and I have confidence in my abilities as a wrestler and as a fighter, and I've been working at this a long time, and wrestling is part of our sport.
And I see you sitting down. You kind of looks a little bit sunk and a little bit sad. What's the thoughts like right now off the top?
Just disappointed. So close. I mean, it was a hell of a fight, and it's been a long road, a long journey, and I just didn't see it going down this way.
And my last question is for Johnny. Johnny, yesterday, going back to the weight cut, Nick Diaz was yelling at you as you came out the second time, and
I thought as a fan.
Oh, you did.
I couldn't
what
see
he
him.
was saying was that losing that last pound and a half can be mentally take a toll.
Dude, I'm a wrestler. Are you kidding me? Losing weight like that? I mean, there's been times that you're sitting there, you step on the scale, you're 7 over 3 hours from a weigh-in. You know what I'm saying? You're sitting there going, well, how do I lose 3 pounds? You freaking get stuff on. You go out there, you wrestle, you do whatever you have to do to lose the weight. You know what I mean? My coaches did a big part in helping me. And Dolce is an amazing guy. We stuck together as a team, and that's really what it boils down to, is that the team stuck behind me, and we got it done.
And after the fight, what are you doing?
What am I doing after the fight? I'm going to go home, kiss my wife, kiss my 3 little girls, say that I'm going to be home for a little bit. I'm going to spend some time with them, become a father again. I can't wait, and just enjoy life.
Guys, we'll take a couple more, Brett.
I got up to 198, but whenever I fought, I think I got down to like 193. I like to lose a little bit of weight. I like to balloon up and then lose some, so that way I still feel light.
Johnny, right in front of you. Couple things I'm curious about. You really haven't gotten beat up like this in a fight before. This was like a sort of a first time encounter. And I talked to you before the fight, and you said that you don't do it in practice either. So I'm wondering, when you got hit by the left hand that really swelled up your eye, did you have trouble seeing things from the right side?
Yeah, it was blurry. It was blurry. The blood was leaking down into it. But you know what? I'm pretty sure everybody up here has been in the same situation. I've been in wrestling matches where you got to call time, glue it up, and go back out there. They split it back open. You got to do it again. You know what I mean? Yeah, it sucks. I wish it didn't happen. But, like I said, Robbie's tough. He caught me with some good punches. And, it's the first time I've been cut in MMA.
And a lot of other wrestlers who have fought Robbie, you know, if they get hit, they immediately, their first thing is to want to take him down, you know, shoot on like kind of a desperate looking double leg. And you really didn't do that. You know, you kind of backed up and circled away from the cage. Is that something that just came naturally to you in that moment, or is that something that you've kind of trained before?
It's something that comes naturally. Like I'll tell you a little bit of game planning of mine. Okay, I'll do 6 or 7 game plans, but I really let my body go off the motion. You know what I mean? Feel the fighter. What is the fighter doing? Is he doing this? Is he doing that? You know, the 3rd and 4th round, I should have changed it up. You know, maybe I don't look like this, but I didn't. You know what I mean? Robbie took advantage of it, and he roughed me up a little bit. But with that being said, you know, I knew that I had to come back hard the 5th round. That's where I lost it in the GSP fight, and I told myself it wouldn't happen again. Yeah.
Final questions, guys? All right, thank you to all the media here in Dallas and the folks that traveled in. We'll see you next week in Natal, Brazil for the Shogun Hendo rematch. Thanks, guys.